Welcome to the next live episode of Season Sunflower Hour. Thank you guys so much for spending your Tuesday night with us. I get so excited when you tune in. Make sure you guys are blowing up the comment section. I love seeing who's watching, where you're watching from, and feel free to just, say anything. Tell me how's your September been so far, right? Tell me what's new and what's going on in life. I love seeing all of that. And you guys, your family. So if this is your first time tuning in and watching the show, welcome to the Sunflower Hour family. Make sure you like and follow so that you never miss any of the updates or any of our incredible guests. You want to make sure to follow us on Twitch if that's where you're watching, or YouTube, wherever your preferred viewing pleasure may come from. Make sure you follow us there so you catch everything we're doing. Because you guys hear me talk on every show, we have so many cool things happening in ALS United. So many fun stuff, so many great events happening. September has been literally no exception. There's been so many incredible walks. We've gotten to see a lot of you out there in person, give you hugs in real life, which is incredible. And we've got some really good stuff coming up in October too. So September is not all the fun. Let's see, Chicago Marathon is right around the corner. I cannot believe this. It is coming up on October 13th. Crazy that we'll be here before we know it. So if you want to come out, if you want to cheer on our team ALS, cheer on those runners, come out. We've got multiple cheer tents throughout the course through the city of Chicago. You can join, you can scream, you can pass out water, you can hold signs, you can rally. If you haven't seen any of our previous runners on the show, I can tell you firsthand, and from what I hear from all of them, what I've seen being out there at the cheer tents myself, that it means so much to these runners, especially when they start to get tired, when those miles start to hit them and they start to really, really need to rally. Turning that corner and seeing you guys screaming and cheering for them, yelling their names, just encouraging them, that's what gets them through that final push. I can promise you. So if you are in the Chicagoland area and you are available on October 13th, head out there to that cheer tent and just cheer them on and give them some love. If not, send them some well wishes, send them some prayers, send them all the good stuff and all the good vibes. Now on October 23rd, the symposium is coming up. Ooh. Oh my goodness, guys, I'm so sorry. It has been a day already. So the symposium is coming up on October 23rd. You want to check that out. We've got all that information on the website, ALSUnitedChicago.org. You will find all the information on the symposium and the Chicago Marathon on the homepage. And you'll also see something really fun and exciting. So I don't know if any of you tuning in tonight are sports fans. If you guys love the Chicago Bears, well, their head coach, Matt Eberflus, I hope I didn't butcher his last name, but the head coach, Matt, did a PSA for us, which is super awesome. Thank you so much, Matt, for spreading the love and sharing some ALS awareness. So if you want to check that out, head to ALSUnitedChicago.org and you'll see all that information on our homepage. Check it out and come out and say hi to all of us. We'd love to see you. Now, I want to get into it because you guys know we always have incredible guests. And every time I think it can't get better, the next episode comes and it does. It just keeps getting better and better. And tonight is absolutely no exception. We are joined, guys. I'm so excited to say this. I feel like this is a lot of people's dream when they're a little kid. Tonight, we're joined by a real life cowboy. Yeah, I'm serious. A real life cowboy. This Nebraska rancher, cowboy, and marathon runner has added a new title to his list. For good or for bad, he is now an ALS warrior. In 2023, Jeff was diagnosed with ALS. Now, he wakes up every single day and he chooses not to let ALS define him, but instead he finds a way to make every single day count. Now, Jeff's attitude, hope, and desire to help others fight this battle is beyond inspiring. So I am so honored to get to share some of his light, his beautiful smile, and his inspiration with all of you tonight. So please welcome marathon runner and ALS warrior, Jeffrey Birkel. Hi, Jeff. How are you?
Hi, Susan. I hope I don't disappoint after that wonderful introduction. Holy cow.
Impossible. Impossible, my friend. You and I had a very long conversation, and every single word of that was absolutely true. You are just such a delight. Even Sam, our show's producer, when she was going through those photos you sent over, was even saying, God, look at that smile. Your energy and your light and your love, all of that even transcends in photos. It is so beautiful.
Well,
So
thank
thank
you.
you for
Thank
being
you.
here.
Yeah. Good to be here.
I'm excited. I am so excited. We got lots of cool stuff to talk about, but I want to dive in first. So silly. But like I said, as soon as you were talking to me and told me you're a real life cowboy, I mean, you might be my first. Maybe not. Maybe not the first cowboy I've ever met, but it really excites me. So I just want to know what is it like for all those little kids watching that dream of becoming a cowboy someday? What is it like to be a real life cowboy?
Well, it's a lot of hard work, actually. Cows take attention, but it is very satisfying. And we use horses, or I did. I can't ride the horse anymore, but we would do roundups, and I had lots of help with the branding. I have a cow partner that has more cows than me, and we would combine our herds for branding time. But it's a lot like babysitting. Um, and raising infants, because you have calves that come every year and they're full of life and energy, but they don't like they're small enough they can get through the fence. So you're constantly chasing them back in, and it's a little bit like parenting, I guess.
Are cows as snuggly as you see? I keep seeing all these Instagram clips where cows just want to hug you and they're big doggies that just want to snuggle.
Well, I've never snuggled with a cow, but the calves, once in a while, I said they get out the fence, but
Yeah.
it's not too long, and they're hungry for some of mama's milk. And some of them can't find the way back, and you hear them bawling and crying, and they're happy for you to come up, and you kind of grab them by one ear, and you kind of put your hand behind their tail, and you just steer them back to where you want them to go. It's kind of
Oh.
cute, and they're very grateful once they get back in the pen with mama.
Oh, I love cow. I love animals. So I have a bunch of cows right by where I live. So every morning I walk down with my dog, and I swear they talk to me.
Oh,
I will not let anyone else tell me differently. They moo when we come by, so I greet them and like good morning to you as well. And
yeah, that's
sometimes they'll
good.
come over and they'll let me pet them. They'll play with my dog. The calves they'll chase each other, and yeah, they just
Yeah,
seem like big adorable dogs. So
yeah.
snuggle with the cow is now on my bucket list.
Oh boy, you might if you got close enough. Like a milk cow, you probably could, but I'm not sure a beef cow.
Well, I might make a stopover at your ranch so
Yeah,
I
you're
can
welcome. We're
check that
we're
out.
right off the Interstate 80. It's 3 miles off the interstate, and it's funny because I had a friend come from the city to visit once, and he said in the 3 miles he went back 100 years in time.
Aw. I love it. I love that kind of living.
Yeah.
Has anyone watching the show tonight, anyone else want to snuggle the cow, or am I alone in this? You let me know in the comment section. Maybe this is a weird dream that no one else has, and I'm a stranger, so it could happen that way. Okay, well, getting down to some big and heavy stuff here. Henry. Henry has tuned in and he is sending you some great vibes. He says, God bless. He's sending you some happiness. Henry,
Thank
thanks
you.
for tuning in. We're so happy that you are here. Buckle up for this fun adventure we're about to have. Now, like we hear so often on this show, we hear this, time and time again, and you know this too, Jeff, that it usually takes a while to get diagnosed with ALS. And I mean, for someone with ALS, time is one thing that you don't always have on your side. So an early diagnosis is so important, but you fell into that as well. It took you a while to be diagnosed.
Mhm.
You were officially diagnosed in 2023, but you were showing symptoms well before that. So what was that journey like for you?
Well, it was at first, I got the symptoms in 2021, right around my 60th birthday, and it was like stiffness and a little bit of lightheadedness, and I put it down to, oh my gosh, I turned 60. My body's old now, and for a long time I just put it down to old age. but it progressively got worse and worse, and to the point where I was going to go on vacation with my wonderful wife. She's half Italian, and she had booked a month in Florence, Italy, got an Airbnb right in the heart of town, and I knew I couldn't hide those symptoms from her because that was up until that point, for a year and a half, I kind of been hiding them. And so that's
Mm.
when we first went to the doctor, was 2 weeks before that trip. And it took 14 months to get diagnosed after that. Yeah.
Mm.
And I ended up having to go to Mayo's because I have good doctors in Peoria, Illinois, where it's my main residence. Uh,
Mhm.
but they said it was taking too long, so they referred me to Mayo's. And within a week, Mayo's had it figured out. They're wonderful up there at Mayo's.
Wow. Did you guys still make the Italy trip?
Yeah, we did the Italy trip, and I'd have to say that, we didn't just stay in Florence the whole time. We did a couple nights down in Rome, and then we could do day trips, on the trains. They're so good there.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a whole month, and it was probably the best vacation of my life. It was
Aw.
really good.
Mm. Well, what I think, and even just in the way you talked about it right now, this is a heavy subject, and this disease is evil, and we all know what this does to you. We know what's coming, and you have always stayed so positive, no matter what life has dealt you, especially with ALS. I mean, that is a difficult hand, but you have still such a positive and happy attitude. I love that. That's one of the
Well,
things
thank you.
when I say inspiring. Oh, you're welcome. But I want to know, how do you, because I said it before, you strive to make every day count, and that's something you told me right off the bat when we started talking. You had that beautiful quote that you're not going
Yeah,
to let ALS define you. You want
right.
to make every day count. So in those bad moments, because we know you have them, I mean, anyone dealing with ALS, there are crappy moments, but you push through that and you stay so happy and positive. So how do you push through that? What gets you through and gets you back to that positive, hopeful, happy energy?
Well, I wouldn't say I've never shed tears, but sometimes you just got to cry and get the emotions out. But then you don't want to stay in that mode. You
Mhm.
don't want to be pitying yourself and just not happy with your situation. It is what it is. And so I've always been a positive person, and your attitude is something you can control. And so I choose not to let ALS get me down. I mean, there are some good aspects of ALS. It's a disease that gives you plenty of time to get your life in order before you go. So, of
Mhm.
course, I've been doing some of that, and well, a lot of that, to be frank. But also, you realize what matters most to you is relationships. So I've been spending a lot more time with people, and that makes me happy naturally because
Mhm.
I love people, I love my family, I love my friends, and I love meeting people like you. We talked for an hour the other night, and we had never met, and it was like that was probably the highlight of my day.
Oh, I feel the same way. You did have me in tears though. I got off the phone and I couldn't stop crying for a little bit.
Oh, well,
It was sweet,
I
sentimental tears.
I just wanted you to know, and all the others, and I'll say it now. ALS is hard on the person that's got it. And I realize there is no way I could stay positive and cheerful without the help of all the volunteers and people. So I am beyond grateful. Beyond.
Oh, you're gonna get me started again. So, we're grateful for you. I mean, I'm telling you, because it's your energy, it's your amazing presence, and just everything about you and everyone else that we serve. Like, you guys are the reason that we do this. And I know that if Sam were here, she'd say the same thing. I mean, we genuinely, everyone at ALS United, I know every single one of them loves what they do. Like, they do it because of you, and we will continue to fight for you. So it's because of you.
Well, I can't thank you all enough. So, and I mean that with the most genuineness as I can muster. You guys are fantastic, and you take the pressure off and the worry, so I can get on with enjoying what time I have left. Because I know if anything comes up, I'm just going to ask my local coordinator, Kelly, and she's going to have the answer. And she might have something in her closet that I can use. She calls it her closet,
Yeah.
the storage area with all the equipment.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's full on our closet. Yeah, the lending closet. Shout
Yeah,
out to Kelly for being amazing. Kelly's the one that connected us too in the first
yeah.
place. So thank you, Kelly, for bringing him into my life. But so speaking of that, because it was kind of a roundabout way that you were connected to us. Unfortunately, it was through someone else that had an ALS connection that brought you to ALS United. So what, yeah, I mean, you kind of alluded to that, what they've meant to you, but what are some of the services that you've been able to take advantage of that has made things a little bit
Well,
easier for you?
well, within 2 weeks, um, we got hooked up with the local chapter of ALS United in Peoria, Illinois, and they invited us to the Christmas party. And so I got to meet, there was quite a few people there, and, some with ALS and their families, but also a lot of volunteers. So that was our first introduction to the community at home. And then going forward, you know, Kelly knew what I needed right away, and things like a a shower seat that you can slide in and get in and out, and a handle for the shower, and my voice is not as strong as it used to be, and my wife was having trouble hearing me, so she gave me a voice box, um, and so I can put on the microphone, and it's got a little speaker, and I can, you know, call my wife from 2 rooms away. It's kind of fun, actually.
Awesome.
Yeah, and what else? I don't know. Kelly,
Oh,
I'm sorry but she's given me other pieces of equipment. But probably the most important thing is, we asked her to come over and help us ALS proof our house. It's kind of like if you ever have kids, you baby proof your house, you plug the sockets and the electrical sockets, gates and things, and so Kelly came over and gave us some really good advice on what we needed to do to the home so I could stay there, because my wife, I am so lucky. Um, she's a nurse, and it was an ER nurse for 13 years, worked in ICU. So she knows how to do all this patient care stuff, when you get farther down your journey and you can't do it for yourself. And she tells me that, she's going to take care of me at home. So we're getting the house ready, and we can't thank Kelly enough from coming over and pointing out everything to us that we need to do. So we're working on the wheelchair access. It's a bit of a convoluted route, but I've got friends that are adamant they're going to help. So they've already been over to the house, and they said they'd have the ramp in by mid October. So
aw. Well, she is, I mean, our whole care service teams, I have to give a major shout out to all of them because you've had experience with Kelly, but they're just incredible about doing exactly what you just said.
yeah.
They know what's coming, and we don't want you to have to stress and worry about that. You have so many other more important things,
Well,
like spending
I
time with
should
your
say
family.
too, season. The other thing that's been really helpful is the monthly meetings where we get
Mm,
on as, I don't know what to call us, as ALS patients and our caregivers. And Kelly usually has some topics she wants to talk to us about, but then she opens it up for questions. And that is so valuable because, I
mm,
don't know about silverware with little tubes you slide on so you can hold them better with your hand. I have
mm,
no idea they have these things out there. And so Kelly always has an answer. We ask a question, and then somebody else will ask a question that, oh, yeah, I need to pay attention to that because I might need that too someday. So it's really a good format to get us all together and share knowledge and ideas, and sometimes we share support because, as you said, it's
mm.
hard.
It is. And have any new friends come out of this? Because I feel like the connections you make with these people that are walking the same journey, that know what this experience is like that you're going through, that's just kind of another level of connection
Yeah,
that you
I'd
can
made
make.
um, at least three. I mean, one lady, I'll call her Beth. Um, she's a coworker of mine. I worked at Caterpillar. I wasn't a cowboy all my life. I was a Caterpillar engineer and then a technical manager. And Beth was one of the first people I called because I remembered that her dad had ALS and she took care of him for like 20 years. And so
Mm,
I would say, our relationship is bonded because she knows what I'm going through, and she's been very supportive, and I can always
mm,
call her when I need almost like a shoulder to cry on sometime. And then there was a guy that Kelly introduced me to, whose wife just recently passed, and he had some equipment and he wanted to share it with me. So he lives in Macomb, Illinois, and he came to Peoria, and we had such a good time visiting. He came back and walked with me on my team in
oh.
the Peoria walk a couple, or was it just a week ago, I guess. And then you've hosted her, Carrie Ricky. She's
Speaking of
she's
Carrie, she is tuning in tonight. She's
oh
giving you
yeah,
a shout out, sending
yeah.
you some love and
Oh, there.
hugs.
Look at that. Yeah. So Carrie, her husband was also a Caterpillar manager like myself, and she has shared all kinds of stuff because she was his caregiver, and so she's been willing to share that. She calls into every support meeting, and so we have that common bond where okay, she's the caregiver, my wife wants to be the caregiver, and her husband was a Caterpillar man, and so she gets it. I mean, she was even telling me about the insurance and how to handle it, because she's
Mm.
already been there and done that. Plus, she's just a real sweet person, and she's nice to be around. And I'm going to her golf outing in a couple of weeks that she has to raise money in memory of her husband. So it looks
Mm.
like it's going to be a really fun time. I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely. I love the bonds that you do make here, I think are just something so incredibly special. It's so amazing. These friendships that you build and the way everyone rallies together in this community, it's family. And they're here
Yeah,
to
it
help each
is
other out.
family. It is family. Yeah.
Uh look, we're making Carrie blush. Carrie, we are
Okay.
so happy that
She
you are tuning
deserves
in.
it. She deserves it.
Absolutely. Well, I've said it multiple times now tonight, but that I love the sort of, I'm going to call it a mantra now for you to literally make every day count. You make it so special because you do not want ALS to define you. And you are more than that. And you still want to create some really, really beautiful memories. And you told me about a couple of them. So, two stories that you shared with me, and I think they were so beautiful. I want you to share with everyone else tonight. So, tell me, very first one, tell me about the best day of your life.
Okay. Well.
That's a big
Well,
tab. One of
no,
the best
no.
days of your life.
I mean, I have to be careful because I love all my family, and I
Yeah.
don't want to play favorites. But I have to say, I have a little bit of an adventure streak in me, and I like a physical challenge, and I like to be with my kids. And so on one particular day, those things all came together, and that's when my boys and I decided we were going to run across the Grand Canyon. And we did. We had all the equipment, the little camelbacks, because there's not a whole lot of water. And I'm telling you, it was harder than a marathon, but it was so beautiful. And we didn't race it. We would stop and take pictures, and just enjoy the beauty of the canyon and the challenge of running it together. It was just a fantastic day. And I remember at 10 o'clock in the morning, we were coming down the north rim, and there's a park ranger sitting there on a horse, and she flags us down. Whoa, boys, hold on. I want to ask you some questions. And so she did, and we said, well, we're running across the canyon, and she could tell, we knew what we were doing because we had spread out the safety gear from everybody was carrying a little bit and stuff, and we were pretty fit back then. That was in I think 2016, and she said, "Okay, well, be careful, have a good run." And we started to run, and then I had this thought that I just had to go back and ask her the question. So I turned around and I ran back to her and I says, "Ma'am, I have a question." I said, "Don't tell me. Is this where you're turning people around? Because we started at 8 o'clock." In the morning, and now we've been running down 2 hours. Maybe we were halfway down the canyon, probably, and she goes, "Yes, if I don't turn them around here, they won't get back up to the top before dark."
Oh my gosh. How long did it take? Now I know you guys were stopping and enjoying and taking photos, but how long did it take you to make that journey?
Well, the clock time was probably like 8 hours, but our running time, because we would stop our
Ooh,
running watch, it was about 6 hours running.
ooh.
We weren't racing it. So that's
Yeah,
in marathon times, that's a really slow time. But you got to remember the
yeah.
Grand Canyon is a mile down and a mile up, and the crossing was 24 miles. So uh, 25 miles. So if you add the mile down and the mile up, which is distance, we actually ran
Oh.
27 miles that day. And we were very, very tired. It was harder than a marathon, but my gosh, I did it with my two boys, and my wife was there at the finish taking pictures, and it was
Mm.
such a wonderful time. I just look back on that, and every time I see the pictures, I smile.
Aw, I love that. I'm sure it was lifetime memory too for your boys. That's so cool you guys did that together. Ugh. I wonder how many people can say that. I certainly cannot. Has anyone run the Grand Canyon? Anybody else watching? Any of you done that? Or do you want to do that now? Did Jeffrey inspire you to go put your running shoes on and go run the Grand Canyon?
It's
I
the
think that
best way to see the canyon, believe me.
woo, ah, my uncle's done some marathons. I'm gonna put that challenge out to him
Mm.
and see if he will do that. I will keep you posted on that one. Oh my gosh, that sounds crazy, but I love that you guys did that together. Well, that one and then another favorite story that you told me, which I think is so awesome, about sailing the Greek islands because I think first of all, when you were telling me this, all my mind was going to was, "My gosh, you do everything." You literally do everything. Here, I find out that you're already a, cowboy, you run a ranch, now you've started a vineyard, now you worked a cat, like you do all of these things, and then you throw at me that you were a yacht master, which sounds incredibly impressive, by the way. So, uh, all of that, all jokes aside, ALS is a lot and it can take a lot away from you. So eventually, it's taken your ability to sail. But before that happened, tell me about this really beautiful, magical trip.
Well, I'd been going on it was, at first it was a yearly, every year we would meet up and go sailing together. I lived in England for 4 years. And while I was there, I made some really good friends. And, that's the benefit of being positive and outgoing is you meet people. And I genuinely love to meet people. So I've made friends that I haven't lived in England since 2004, but I would say, they're some of my best friends. And I
Oh.
just love spending time with them. And a bunch of us guys, we called it a lads sailing holiday in British speak. We would get together anywhere from just four of us to up to eight of us, and we'd rent a sailboat somewhere in the world and meet up and go sailing. Now, I'm not the yacht master, but thank you for saying so.
Oh, oh,
But I've done a good 15 or so sailing holidays, and if I had to, I could get the sailboat back in the harbor. But my friend's got the yacht master, which is like having a pilot's license.
okay.
You can go rent a sailboat anywhere in the world if you have your paperwork with you. And so just recently, my buddies were like, "We're gonna take you on, it could be my last one, but I'm trying hard to make another one." But you don't
Mm,
know, as we all know,
yeah,
everybody's journey is unique, and the pace of progression of the disease is unique to that person.
yeah.
So if I'm around, I'll try to do another one. But they decided they were going to take me sailing at least one more time. And we went to the Greek Isles in the Mediterranean, and it was absolutely gorgeous. But the journey getting there was kind of interesting because it was my first time to do the wheelchairs in the airport. But I
Okay.
remember Kelly had told me, you got to conserve your energy. So pick and choose what you're going to use it for. And I know that standing around with my ALS just saps me. So my buddies
Mm,
were pushing me around in a wheelchair in the airports, and even afterwards, getting to the transfer van and stuff. But when we were actually at the airport, um, one of the airlines decided that they didn't even want me walking up and down their ramps and their steps. So they took me in my wheelchair out on the tarmac, and they put me in the hydraulic lift with all the sandwiches and meals that were going up to the plane. So my good friend Jonathan was with me, and he was he was happy to report to the rest of the gang when we were all on the plane. Yeah, they loaded Jeff on the plane with the sandwiches. So
All the
that
most
was
important things. All the
that was
most important things are coming together.
that was quite the unique way. I've never been on an airplane that way, but I was grateful because it saved my energy. And
Yeah.
when they had me on the boat, they rented a boat that the whole back of the boat would fold down, and they could just back it up to the dock. So and
Oh,
then
I
they
love
could have
it.
somebody on either side. Oh, you're showing the
Let's
picture of.
look at that. Yeah,
Oh yeah,
speaking of this
that was.
amazing adventure.
Somebody says,
Yeah.
"Let's have some tea," and the wind's blowing 20 knots, and they call it heeling over, and we were really cracking along at a good pace, and I had to take a picture of that. And then
Oh, I
that's
love
my good friend. He's the yacht master, Jonathan. He's a real car buff, and that's a McLaren, but I don't remember the number, like 675, but it's a street legal race car, and he gave me
it.
a ride in it, and I'm telling you what, that's me going on the sandwich truck, going on the lift to go up. So
Love
yeah,
it.
that was and
Love
then
it.
and the water's kind of calm there, but I think we're just motoring out of the harbor on that picture. But you can see they always made me wear a life vest because when my wife and I were on a vacation before this, we tried treading water and I couldn't do that anymore. So I spent
Mm.
a lot of time in the corner of the cockpit, they call it. The one job that I had was because I couldn't do the physical stuff, and I went swimming. But the skipper said, "Just tell us, Jeff, when we're doing something wrong. That's your job." And so I was constantly watching them. But there's a couple of the other guys there. But you can
I
see, and
love
then
it.
we go out and have a nice meal at night. It's just a wonderful time. I'm so fortunate. And there we're going along pretty good, and that's under wind right there. That's not motor
Ooh.
power. So we were very fortunate with the weather, and it's so beautiful there. And you can see
Wow.
how the back of the boat folds down, and then they had a little board that get me double
Oh,
wide there.
wow.
So
Oh,
yeah.
that's
Oh, there's
beautiful.
there's the
There's the
buds.
crew.
There's the buds. At least
There's
most of
the
them.
crew.
Yeah,
Oh,
catching some sun there. Taking my
I
turn.
love it. Oh,
Yeah,
oh
it
my.
was fantastic. I'm so lucky. I can't thank those guys enough, but they
Oh,
don't let me get too emotional because the British, they have a stiff upper lip. There's the sandwich truck. Yeah. So anyway, those are
oh
some
my
sailing pictures. It's nice
God.
of you to share those with everybody.
I love it. You just took everybody that's watching on a little journey of the Greek islands. I think that's beautiful. We got to see a little bit of it.
Well,
It's
I couldn't have
gorgeous.
done it without my friends. And maybe you noticed, but some of the times they had me clipped on with a strap because the boat was tipped over so much they didn't want me to fall out or blow out because the wind was blowing pretty good. So I,
Aw,
I felt like a little toddler on a leash.
yeah. Well, if you said you kind of want to do another one. If you were to do another one, where's the next? Where's the next adventure? Where would you want to
Well,
go next?
just anywhere warm, because I've learned one thing with my ALS: cold is not good. It's like my legs get rigor mortis, and I think if I got cold legs now, they probably would just lock up and I'd fall over. So I'd love hot. Today was 92, and I was happy as a clam to be outside putting around on my ranch. You know, it has to be over 100 degrees before now feel hot, and I put that down to the ALS. And the doctors at Mayo said that's a symptom of ALS. So
Hmm.
warmth is good. It makes your muscle stiffness kind of reduce and stuff. So I want to go somewhere warm. Season is the
I
answer to that
mean,
question.
it sounds like you're made for Bali, so I'm just throwing that out there.
Oh yeah, if they have we've done Turkey, that's kind of exotic, but we've never been to Indonesia. So I'll throw that out there. And if the guys
Just saying.
take the bait, we'll be in touch with you. You can help us
Just
get
saying.
connected. Thank you.
Absolutely. I do see sailboats. I see the boats out in the water, so I know that it is possible. And yeah, it is very warm here. It is very hot, so you would be very happy.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's fine. I would be happy. Yes.
Well, I love this. Again, you do so many different things. I think it's so awesome. And now you're adding another title to that list, or you have added actually, but you decided amongst all the things that you're doing, you wanted to start taking up running. So we heard a little bit, you ran the Grand Canyon, but you decided to start doing marathons, which I think is amazing. When we talked, I think you said 10. Is that still the number?
Yeah.
You did, yes. So you did 10 marathons. You started distance running. Um, I love it, and I say this in the best way. I think runners are absolutely insane in
Well,
the best way. I don't know how you do it. I am so proud you do it. I think that's amazing. So, why in the world did you decide to start running? And
well,
once you did, you've been running for so long. What did that do to your life? What did I hear? I hear it's kind of addictive. So,
it
what
is.
did running
It is
bring to your
addictive.
life?
So it really started not for love of running. It started for love of food and beer. And I announced one day to my wife,
Fair enough.
"Hun, you're drying my pants in the dryer on too hot a setting. They're shrinking." And she busted out laughing and came after me with that seamstress tape. And she measured my waist and it was 2 inches bigger. So I resolved at that point that I was going to do something about my waist because I had always made a pact with myself that I wouldn't in later in life, put on weight and have to buy new clothes because of that. So I had to do it some way, and distance running is, well, one thing I learned pretty quick: when you run a marathon, you have to eat a lot of food to avoid losing weight. So I was like a dream come true. And so that's how the running thing started. And I've done the Chicago Marathon 3 times. And one time I actually ran it under 3 hours, I'm proud to say. And everything you were saying about come out and cheer, I can't believe how much that means to you, especially in anything like 17 miles and up, because almost every marathon I've run, and I've run 10 of them, I get to about mile 18 and I say, "You're an idiot. Why do you do this? I'm never going to run another one," you know. And so the cheering and the support. I remember one time running the Boston Marathon. I ran by a group of people, and I don't want to spoil it for anybody that hasn't run Boston. So I ain't going
Yeah.
to say where. But there were so many people screaming and cheering for us, like we were the winner. I couldn't stop smiling. And it was at least a half a mile long, maybe a mile. And at the end of it, my face hurt because I couldn't stop smiling. And it really does pick you up. So anyway, come out and cheer for the ALS team that's running the Chicago Marathon. But that's why I took up distance running. But like you said, it is addicting, and I got really fit. And one of the things that happens is when you get really fit is the running actually is easier. When you're jogging, you're pounding the pavement, boom, 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 and it shakes your body. But when you get fast enough, I tell people it's like a horse when it goes from a trot, which is
Mhm.
like a jog. Then it goes to a canter and a gallop. you look at that horse and its back and its front, they're not going up and down. They're just gliding through the space. And that's what it's like when you get fit. And it's almost like a high because it's less effort and you're just buzzing along and you're creating your own wind and you're keeping yourself cool. And it is addicting. And I miss those days, I have to say, getting me to talk about it. It's like, God, I wish I could still do that, but I can't.
Ah, you make a compelling case. You make it sound exciting. I hate running, but you make it sound exciting.
Well, if you get fit enough, I think you might enjoy it. And then also, even if you're just jogging, find a trail to run on. Don't run on the streets and the sidewalk. And get out there and enjoy God's beauty of nature and stuff. And that's nice too. And you can explore, there's apps that map my run and you can look where people have posted their previous routes and copy
Yeah.
them. And so it gets you outside in the fresh air and it's good for your body.
Yeah. Well, you had me at you have to eat a lot of food, so you get to eat
Oh,
more
yeah.
food to prepare you for running.
Yeah. I was eating close to 5,000 calories a day at the peak of my training. That's like dream come true.
Oh my goodness, see,
Yeah.
that's where you had me. You should have started with that. Now I'll
Yeah.
sign up tomorrow.
Okay. You're going to do the
Actually,
Chicago Marathon next year then.
let's not get too ahead of ourselves. I still let me work on that. Which speaking of though, everyone watching is very excited for you. They cheer you on. Even just in life. I think they're just cheering you on in life, which is amazing. And shout out to my aunt. My favorite aunt is watching. Hi, Aunt Lisa. So, in this training process, though, which I love that you found that beauty in it, and that I've heard this from multiple marathon runners, especially on Team ALS, that there is that point through the marathon where it is just hard. Like you said, why am I doing this? What did I just do to
Yeah.
myself? But you always push through, and then you always like you want to keep coming back for more because you found that love. So what is that training process like for you? Do you actually enjoy the training process, or is that just a means to get you to the big marathon that you enjoy?
Well, it's a mixed season. I mean, there's some days where, you really look forward to it. And then there's other days that I call, well, it's going to be a character building run today. I'm just going to make myself do it. And I'm telling you, every time when I went running and I really didn't want to go running, but I went running anyway, because you have to be disciplined to train for a marathon. I felt great afterwards. So almost every time I've trained, the feeling afterwards is worth the effort. It's exercise endorphins. You get released, and but it is hard. And I would do speed workouts and tempo runs just to mix it up. And I remember one time I was running on the athletic track at the local high school and a thunderstorm came and I was bound and determined. I was doing 200 meter sprints and I was supposed to do, I don't know, 10 or 12 of them. And the thunderstorm came up and I thought, I'm going to finish it. And then as I was finishing, I had two more to go and I would just got to the goal line and the lightning hit the cell tower on the stands right next to me. And the hair on my arm soaked, but the hair on my arm stood up right before it flash boomed. So I'm like, I think I'll just forego the last two. I ran straight back to my car. So it can be an adventure at times too. Uh, but you have to like being alone. But, a lot of times, um, I would do praying or I would just try to concentrate on my running style and make it as
Mhm.
efficient as possible. It's good for meditation, if you have some problems to work out or something
Yeah.
going on at work, it's really good. So there's a lot of other benefits of running.
I love it. Well, and not only did you run, but I feel like you also inspired your kids to run too, right? You sort of shared this love of running with them because then they came into the fold here. So let's talk
Yeah.
about that. So how did first tell me about the marathon that you ran with your oldest son, and then kind of how that led to some really exciting news.
Okay. Well, ever since the oldest son's named Matt, and Matt one day asked me to go running when he was like 8 or 9 years old. And I thought, well, that's fine because I'm training for a marathon, but I thought I can do 2 miles with him. And I couldn't believe how fast he ran as a little kid. And I let him set his own pace, and he knew how far he was going. And I said, we're going to turn around at this landmark. And I thought, oh my, this kid's got some natural talent. And so I encouraged him, and all through high school and junior high and grade school, he ran, and even in college. So while I think he was still in college, he wanted to do a marathon. And so we trained and we went down to Houston, Texas. We picked a small one. I said, you don't want to do a big marathon for your first one. And we went down to Houston, Texas, to Sugar Land, Texas, where we had family, coincidentally, which one of the reasons we chose it. And we could stay for free at their house. They had the big pasta party for us the night before.
Mm.
And we were at the pasta party, and Matt says, Dad, I can't wait to run the marathon tomorrow. I'm so excited. I'm so looking forward to it. And me being the cynical marathon runner now, getting ready to run his 10th marathon, I said, Bud, that's his nickname, Bud. I said, Bud, enjoy the feeling. It'll be the last time you ever feel this way the night before a marathon. He's like, anyway,
Oh.
so I'm coming into the finish chute, and I had seen that Matt at mile 18, the course had double backed on itself. And I could see my son Matt was in the lead. He's following the motorcycle. And I had told him, now don't go out too fast. You'll blow up and hit the wall, as we call it in the marathon. Marathons can be bigger than you. You don't matter how tough you are. If you don't pace it right and you hit the wall, there's no amount of toughness that's going to get you through that. Your
Mhm.
body won't do it, and you just slow down. Sometimes people drop out. And so I thought, wow, a lot can happen in the next 8 miles. He still had 8 miles to go. And and so here I am now, 4 miles behind him. You know, people say he was so fast he beat me by a mile. Well, my son was so fast he beat me by 4 miles. And so I'm running into the finish chute, and my dear old bless his heart uncle who lived in Houston is standing in the crappy weather. The wind's blowing, the rain's coming down. It
Oh.
wasn't a very nice day, but he's standing next to the announcer so he can tell the announcer that here I come, because the announcer says, as I'm in the chute, and this is how I found out. Here comes the father of our winner. My son won the first marathon he ever ran. Now it was only 400 or 500 people, but oh, I was so proud of him. And but he was really, I don't think he ever has the same feeling about looking forward to a marathon because he was in the medical tent when I first saw him. The race director came up and put her arm around me and said, "Now, Mr. Burkle, it's okay. We're taking good care of your son, but he's kind of hurting." So we went to
Oh,
the tent,
no.
but of course, he bounced back. And so, anyways, so
I mean,
and now he's run. I don't know, maybe 6 marathons. I don't know
ooh,
how many. Yeah.
I wonder if he's gonna surpass your goal. So 10, is he gonna try
I don't
to?
know. I don't know because marathons, like you do a long run every week, and it's like playing a round of golf. It takes a lot of time to do a long run. You go out and run for 3 hours, and so little brother Mike has also, he took up running with Matt, and so they've done. Mike didn't do that first marathon that Matt did, but Mike's done a number of marathons with his brother, and they're both married, and I love their wives, and I know how much time it takes away
Yeah.
from their family life. So I don't know if they're gonna run too many more, but I know they're telling me they're gonna run one more.
I know. Let's I want to hear about this one, but first of all, I just have to say, like, what a moment. What an incredible moment to share with Matt. of crossing that finish line. I mean, I feel like, did your heart straight up explode
Oh, yeah.
getting to
I
hear
mean,
that announcer say that?
normally after a marathon, you think, "Oh, I feel terrible and I hurt." And I'd have to say, that marathon, I felt no pain. I was so happy for him.
Oh, that is so cool. Are the boys tuning in tonight?
No,
Is Matt and Mike?
they would have, but and I'm happy for them. They're both on vacation. One is in Scotland at the moment, and one is in Italy in Naples. So it's whatever 2 o'clock in the morning when you started the show, I think, or
Yeah,
so they'll watch. Hopefully, you'll post the link. They can watch it when they get back.
absolutely. And when you boys do watch it, I want to give a shout out to both of you, Matt and Mike. You are fantastic. Your dad is absolutely incredible. So I have a feeling you boys are just as incredible. But keep that running up, and congrats on your guys' marathon success, which leads us to there is something so exciting. And this also makes me choke up. The Father's Day present that your boys gave you is pretty special. I want you to tell us about that.
No.
Oh. No, take your time.
Oh, no.
I love it. I love you're such a proud papa. I love how much you love them. And we've got some photos as you tell this story. I want to
Yeah.
show some pictures of you running
eh,
with your boys.
That's fine. You can show the pics and I'll talk. Um,
Yeah.
it's just so emotional because the gift, the gift they're giving me,
Mm.
it's from their heart. It's not like, oh, I went out and bought something and wrapped it. Those are good gifts, but it is just chocked full of love and thoughtfulness and sacrifice,
Yeah.
self sacrifice on their part. They told me on Father's Day that, Dad, we're going to qualify for Boston again and we're going to take you along. This time, we're going to take you and give you one more Boston and push you in a racing pushchair. And I was just blown away, because I knew what that meant, and the sacrifice. And it's way cool. I mean, I'd love to do it. But and they said originally they said, well, we'll shoot for the 2026 Boston Marathon, and I had to be practical with them.
Yeah.
It's like, boys, I don't know if I'll be around in 2026 in April. I mean, I'm not a fatalist here, but I'm fighting as hard as I can. But
Yeah.
it doesn't matter how tough you are. It gets you in the end when it's your time. And
Yeah.
so I said, boys, even if I am around, I can't say what I'm going to feel like that would have been almost 2 years from when they talked to me. And I said, I may not be up to sitting in a pushchair for 3 to 4 hours. So I said, you think you could do it in 2025? And they're like, ooh, ah. Because normally a marathon, to prepare for a marathon, you're running at least 10 miles a day, a long run, and 20
Yeah.
to 30 miles a week. So you have this base that you have to start from. And then the training takes 12 weeks. And so they're like, oh my gosh, we have to qualify in the Boston deadline in September. Oh, they're quickly like they're starting to panic a little bit. And they realize they have 8 weeks to train. And they're like, oh, well, we'll try. And so they trained their little butts off, and they were on the verge of getting injured, and they were getting little twiggly muscle aches and pains, and
Oh,
said they were pushing their absolute
okay.
limit. And but they they did it. And I don't know if you want me to go into the result or.
Yeah, I mean, this is impressive. So absolutely. I mean, we already know Matt's a running superstar who won his first marathon, but yeah, tell people what they did. What time did they hit in
So
qualifying?
we decided that we wanted to run a qualifying marathon before September because the entries for Boston, like my son told me, it's like first week of September, and Boston can fill up. So my son Matt, the faster one. They're both fast. They're both fast. But we decided, and the younger one, Mike, he's a little more buff. So they decided Matt would just go and outright qualify for Boston, and Mike, being a little slower and a little stronger, he's going to be the one who pushed me in the pushchair. And so Matt had to run something probably 2 hours and 55 minutes or less to guarantee him a spot in Boston. And so we chose a really flat marathon, the Nebraska State Fair Marathon in Grand Island, Nebraska. If anybody's ever driven Interstate 80 across Nebraska, they know how flat that part of the state is. And so on August 24th, at 6:20 in the morning, off we go, and they let the wheelchairs go first. And so Mike's pushing me, and pretty soon, about mile 8, here comes Matt, and he's in like fifth place overall, and he's booking it along, and he finishes in third place overall, and he ran a time of I think 2:46, which is way fast enough to get him
Ooh.
into Boston. And Mike pushed me to a time of 3:45, which he only needed to push me 6 hours or less. So we've all qualified for Boston. And let me just give Mikey a shout out because I have to say I was a pretty guilty feeling dad to hear how hard
You're the best.
I already said the later miles are really hard on marathon runners. And
Yeah.
you can imagine it's even harder when you're pushing a 165-year-old or 165-pound man in a wheelchair. And so from mile 22 on, to get the chair to turn, Mike has to pop a wheelie. You don't steer it. And I could hear him grunting with effort. And he's not chatting and talking to me anymore. And I wasn't going to bother him because I know what he's going through. And so the physical sacrifice.
Mm.
All I can say is
Mm.
I sure love my boys, and I am grateful for what they've done. So now we've qualified for Boston, but there is a catch. Um, in order for Mike to get us get us in, he would have guarantee a spot. He would have had to push me in the wheelchair to 2 hours and 55 minutes. Just not possible for us in 8 weeks. So in order for us to get an entry for Boston, we have to get a charitable entry. And so we want to get one through ALS. But there is no ALS United in Massachusetts. It's the ALS Association. So we're talking with the ALS Association, and they're saying, "Oh yeah, we might give you a bib." But last year, you know, the bibs are very cherished, and last year, um, they raised $200,000 with the 11 runners. So that's almost $20,000 a person. So we're trying to raise money before we apply for the bib, which is middle of October. And our goal is to raise $20,000. And I'm happy to say just this week we crossed halfway. So I think I think it's in sight. But in a month we
It is.
want to have another $10,000. So if anybody wants to contribute to the cause, you're more than welcome. And you can find out how by if you can see my screen name, Jeffrey Birkel. If you make that all one word and put .org on the back of it, you'll get to our little fundraising website.
And I sure will, I will put that up. My computer just actually froze. So I had it all typed up. I want to share that in the comments, but I cannot do anything at this moment. I cannot show
Oh,
you the photos. I am frozen and locked out of everything. And I didn't want to bust this up by exiting and coming back in because I don't want to mess anything up here. But I'm really bummed because we have some really beautiful photos of you and your boys running.
yeah.
And like you said, if you want to support Jeff and his boys, visit jeffreybirkel.org. So, Jeffrey, if you have anything to say, I want you to chat with them for a minute. I'm going to try to exit and come back in so I can try to get people this information and hope that that fixes everything. So,
Okay.
take a minute and talk.
I'll hold
I'm
down the fort for you.
Yeah, I'm passing the hosting mic over to you
Oh,
for
that's
2
no
minutes.
problem.
You run the show here. You become the Sunflower Hour host for a
Okay.
moment, and I'll be right back.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, the picture that's on my screen, I'll tell a little story about that one. That's my youngest boy, Mike, and he's the one who pushed me in the wheelchair, in the racing chair. And if you go to that website, you'll see a picture of what it looks like. Anyway, so Mike was working for John Deere in the Quad Cities. I worked for Caterpillar in Peoria. And we would meet every Wednesday night. It was like, oh, I look forward to it. It's hump day, and I actually look forward to it. We'd meet every Wednesday night in a town called Galesburg, Illinois, which is about halfway between Peoria and the Quad Cities. And we would go for a run at this lake, Story Lake is what it's called. And then we would go out to eat in Galesburg, or sometimes we would just have a cookout. Well, this one particular day, we both show up and we meet at the park there, and we had on the exact same shirt. So we thought it was so cool that we both wore the same shirt that day. So we had to get a picture of that. Um, those were such happy Wednesdays. I look forward to running. That's another thing. If you're thinking about taking up running, do it with somebody you like, because they will get you out there on a bad day, and you'll get them out there on one if they're having a bad day, because you don't want to disappoint them. So anyway, um, yeah, I tell you, all my marathons, I've done 10, but all my marathons haven't gone smoothly. And I remember I was running one in England. It was the Lake Vyrnwy Marathon, and their motto was best marathon by a dam site. Well, it was DAMN because you ran around this lake that was dammed up in a canyon. It's kind of a play on words. But at any rate, I remember I was hoping to qualify for the London Marathon, and I had to run like 3:15 for my age. And I had just run a marathon about 6 weeks before, and I missed it by 1 minute. So I thought, well, I'm going to go to this Lake Vyrnwy Marathon and run it because it's flat and fast. But 6 weeks isn't enough time to let your body recover. And so I'm out running this marathon, and about mile 18, I get a side cramp, or as the British say, a stitch. And it's the only time I can remember, except maybe one other, that I actually had to walk in the marathon. It just brought me to my knees. And so I have to say, my kids weren't very happy with me because near the finish line, there was a really cool playground, and they're all happy to play on the playground while dad's out running for 3 hours. But mom wants them at the finish line when dad comes in. So dad said he'd be trying to finish around 3 hours and 10 minutes. And so mom made him quit playing in the playground, and she has them standing around the finish line. And this is the marathon I blew up in, and I don't come across the line until 3 hours and 25 minutes. At least 15 minutes past my goal time. And my son Matt, he's not very happy with me, and I'm hurting. It's the worst I've ever felt after a marathon. You think he gave me any empathy? No, he all he could say was, "Dad, Dad, you just ran a PW." And I said, "Matt, what's a PW?" He said, "Personal worst." He wasn't very happy. But oh, season's got another picture up. That's Matt.
I got it. Well, you finished that
And
story.
yeah,
I will
well,
share.
I finished it. That was, so Matt and I were always running, but that previous picture, Matt won the 5K race that was a local old settlers days. I was so proud of him. I could tell another story on that one, but oh,
I
that's a part
love
of
it.
the Grand Canyon run there. Yeah, that's one of the best days of my life. There, out with the boys. Yeah, that was so cool. That's Matt. You ran like Indianapolis Marathon. There, I got my I ran Boston in 2005. That's just the
Look at
local
them.
Peoria. They have a big 4 mile race. That's my daughter in the middle. She
Ah,
she'll go running with us once in a while, and that's her husband Chris and a real close friend, the tall guy there. Um, and
I
then that's
love
me
this.
and Matt. We were in Pittsburgh at the time, and that was his last run. That's my son Mike in St. Paul, Minnesota, and we didn't let the weather stop us. We went for a run. Look at the frost on my scarf around my neck. It, it's it's cold,
I
and
love
that's
this.
Matt and Mike. The day before the marathon, Boston Marathon. That's the finish. Oh, there you
I
go.
love this.
That's my push chair, and you can see we got advertising on it for ALS. We got
I
both
love it.
ALS United and ALS Association. We painted it orange, partly because
Love it.
ALS United color, but mostly because that's my son Mike's favorite color, and he's pushing me, so he got to pick.
Mm. I absolutely love this. So, you guys, again, if you want to support, if you want to help them get to the Boston Marathon so these boys can push their dad and give him his Boston Marathon journey one more time, please head over to jeffreybirkel.org. I posted it in the comment section for you guys. Check it out. No donation is too small, right, Jeffrey? Even if you only have a
No,
dollar to donate,
yeah,
it
it's
helps get
like
to the end
we
result.
we only need 10,000 more, and I have 1,000 friends on LinkedIn, so I'm going to send out a mass message that says, if y'all just donate $10, we're going to get there. So
Yeah.
there's power in numbers. So anything, we're extremely grateful, and it'll all go to either ALS United, the ALS Association, or ALS Research, because of this foundation that we set up. We're legally obligated, and we're not taking any expenses out except for when you use Venmo and PayPal, they take their 2%. I can't stop that.
Mm, well, oh, good old PayPal. Well, I love what you're doing, Jeffrey, and I think it is so cool. You have amazing boys that what they're doing for you is absolutely incredible. So I'm so excited. I can't wait to keep updated on this journey. You have to let us know once you guys hit that goal and if you are doing the Boston Marathon because this is so exciting. We are so proud of you, but I'm happy you're part of our family. I'm so happy that you were doing the walks. And are you going to be out at the Chicago Marathon? I know it's a long
Um,
journey for you.
no, my one of my friends, the one in the race car that you had the picture of, he's coming to visit. He and his wife. He wants to see the cowboy life. The British are kind of enamored with the Western life. So I'm gonna take him. I'm gonna show him the ranch, but then we're gonna tour for 2 weeks or so around the West and the Southwest, and he's gonna see the sights. Have
I
a
love it.
little
See, everyone
vacation.
is impressed by a cowboy. Everybody loves a good cowboy. So that is so exciting. Well, Jeffrey, do you have anything to say to everyone that is watching before you go? Maybe why is it so important? I mean, what we are doing here, sharing your story, sharing your journey, shining a light and spreading some ALS awareness. I mean, why is this so important?
Well, it's important because, it's not a fun journey that any of us are on that have it. And,
Yeah.
we can choose how to respond. And I choose to be positive and upbeat. And I want something good to come out of a bad situation.
Yeah.
So, doing these fundraising activities and interacting with the community, you know,
Yeah.
it's just, I mean, I love people and I love interacting with people. That's how I want to spend the rest of my time. I don't want to read books and I don't want to watch too much football on TV because I just want to be with somebody interacting because that's what I cherish the most. And it's the volunteer community that enables me to and others to stay engaged with their loved ones and friends for as long as we can. And I just can't thank you all enough because it makes such a difference. It takes
Mm.
the pressure off us having to figure everything out. And when we do get a question, we know that it's only a text or a phone call away to get the answer. So you just can't know how comforting and reassuring that is. So thank you, everyone.
Jeffrey, you're the best. Well, I love you. I'm so happy that this show brought you into my life because I mean it. You are such an amazing soul. You are so happy. Like Sam said, you have the most beautiful smile. You are just such a beautiful person. So I'm so happy to know you. I'm happy you're a part of our family. And I cannot wait to hear all these updates to come from you.
Okay, we'll keep you
Oh,
posted. Thank you.
keep me posted. Keep
Yeah.
me posted. Absolutely. Have the best rest of your night. Go out there and, try to hug a cow for me if you get the opportunity.
If I get that done, I'll make sure we get a picture of it.
Yes, please.
It
Yes.
might have a rope around its neck.
Oh my
Oh
goodness. Oh, well, you
gosh.
are fantastic, Jeffrey. Thank you so much for coming
You're
on
welcome.
tonight. And I
Thank
have a
you.
feeling you and I will be chatting again very, very
Okay.
soon.
Thank you for what you do, Susan.
Oh, always. Bye. Oh, I just want to hug him. I want to just reach right through this camera and just give him a hug because he is such an amazing person. And I think what he is doing for spreading ALS awareness and just the positive mindset that he has altogether is beyond inspiring. So I want to challenge everybody that is watching this. Let's all channel our inner Jeffrey and let's have that same attitude. No matter what life throws at us, we choose how we are going to handle it. Those things do not define us. We are so much more than that. So let's enjoy every single day and make the very most of it with the people we love, doing the things we love. All for Jeffrey. So send him your love, your well wishes. And you know what? If those of you that love to run, go out and run for him. If you like to walk, go out and take a nature walk and just enjoy the moments for Jeffrey. Let's spread some of that love and positivity. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Again, if you guys do want to help be a part of his and his son's journey to the Boston Marathon, make sure you check out jeffreybirkel.org. I will see all of you. Have a beautiful rest of September. I will see you guys back here again for the next live on October 15th. And until then, everybody, be bright and shine your light.